So, my next guest is the first active duty pilot to speak publicly about sightings of unidentified aerial phenomenon, also known as UAPs. He flew F 18s in the Navy and served in two deployments in Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Inherent Resolve. He says he has witnessed these UAPs firsthand.
UAP are in our airspace, but they are grossly underreported. These sightings are not rare or isolated, they are routine. Parts of our government are aware of more about UAP than they let on, but excessive classification practices keep crucial information hidden. Since 2021, all UAP videos are classified as secret or above. This level of secrecy not only impedes our understanding, but fuels speculation and mistrust.
Ryan Graves is also the founder of Americans for Safe Aerospace, and he joins me now. Ryan, thank you very much for your service and your testimony earlier, and thank you for joining us today. I'm curious what goes through your mind when you listen to John Kirby at the White House podium basically saying, gee, we think it's weird too, and we really don't know anything about it.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me here today. It seems like the different branches of the government aren't communicating very well on this problem. And for me, it leads me to believe that there is a true uncertainty about what's going on here. I find it hard to believe that the Biden administration can continue this policy of cognitive dissonance on this topic. Hundreds of people are seeing these events. They've occurred not just this year, but years in the past in the same area. And this is now a reoccurring trend that we need to come to terms with and be able to deal from a national security perspective and from a domain awareness perspective.
So, as a former F 18 pilot and a trained pilot, obviously still, why don't we just shoot a couple of these down when they're over a rural area, which they are every single night in New Jersey, and get a look at them?
Ultimately, our systems that we typically employ, especially on fighter aircraft, are not well designed for very small targets, both from a targeting perspective as well as a collateral damage perspective. But before we talk about shooting these down, we have a lot of investment and a lot of capabilities within our government to be able to identify objects at a distance. And we need to bring the full brunt of the government and the Pentagon's force at play here to be able to understand what these are, identify them, characterize them, and if need be at that point, choose a prime target to bring down and further inspect.
Do you have a sense or a theory based on your work as to what these are?
It's very tough to say. What we do know is that this is something that we have been dealing with for multiple years in this region of the country, starting in Virginia Beach at Langley Air Force Base last year as well. And now we're having exponentially more sightings just hundreds of miles to the north. And it's not restricted to just people on the ground. My nonprofit, Americans for Safe Aerospace, has been receiving reports from commercial pilots, military pilots, and veterans for over a year now, showing how consistent and how problematic this issue is at altitude where they're flying around. We need to have a better coordinated response and actually listen to the people on the ground and in the air that are seeing things. And I would encourage them to use this as an opportunity to destigmatize this topic, encourage more reporting, whether that be through existing mechanisms or at safeaerospace.org, so that we have a true accounting and understanding of how prevalent this problem is.
Well, I mean, you say that we have ability to get a good look at them in the sky. We don't necessarily need to shoot them down. What can we ascertain from that? Can we tell if they're coming from a foreign entity or if they're coming from our own Department of Defense or if they're coming from a corporate entity right here in the country?
Based on my analysis of the situation and the statements made by the Pentagon and the legislative branch, um, I cannot believe that this is our own government acting in such confusion. God help us if so. Same for commercial contractors. There's zero benefit, all risk for operating these things so close to the ground, especially if it's some type of classified equipment. That leaves foreign adversaries or something else. And we've heard directly from the Pentagon that there is no so-called mothership off the coast of Virginia and New Jersey that is launching these items. But to directly answer your question, we have some of the most sophisticated radar systems on the eastern seaboard. We should, with great certainty, know exactly where these objects are, where they're going, and where they're setting down if they are. So either these things have the ability to counter those technologies, or we're simply lying about what's happening
So
right
it sounds
now.
like
I
one
don't
of
have the answer.
one of the so you're saying foreign entity. You ruled out a couple of options based on your experience: foreign entity or something else. What falls into the something else category, Ryan?
Well, for a number of years, people have been reporting what is known as unidentified anomalous phenomena, which are unattributed, unknown objects of unknown intent that seem to be exhibiting performance characteristics that are beyond our state of the art. Now, I haven't seen particular videos in the number that have been released publicly on social media and elsewhere that would give me a high level of confidence that there are these exotic capabilities being exhibited. But the whole behavior in general doesn't leave very much room for other options if it's not a foreign adversary.
Unbelievable. And you say it's not too popular within the government, your experience, to bring these things up and to talk about them, and yet they're out there and they're flying in all different directions. They are, basically turning the lights off when something gets too close to them, and they only come out at night. Final thought, Ryan.
Well, I think we need to just kind of cut through this conversation and have an honest conversation with the American people about what's happening, what our capabilities are. And if we are uncertain with it, we need to deal with that and institute national reform to be able to better report these things and study them as a phenomenon itself.
Ryan Graves, thank you. Wouldn't we all love to be a fly on the wall at the Department of Defense and Homeland Security, because you can guarantee they're having more open conversations than what they're sharing so far. We got to find out what's going on in the skies above our homes. Thank you very much. Good to see you, Ryan.
Thank you.